Hi, Dr. Eric Westman here with another episode of Learn with Dr. Westman. Today I'm going to talk about protein. How much protein do you need? Well, if you're learning about nutrition and following any sound nutritional program, you'll learn that protein comes first. So as a basic nutritional principle, you have to find some protein. Protein's what we're made of. The amino acids that are found in protein are broken down and then remade into protein in our bodies to create the structure, the functional enzymes and immune system. And so basically protein comes first. If you're so appetite suppressed, you don't want to eat anything. Let's say you're on a keto diet or any type of diet, you're taking a medicine, you don't want to eat, I recommend you eat some protein every day. We think that that's the healthiest way to lose weight or to even just exist. Some protein every day. Now, how much protein is, well, I can't tell you how much actually to have. I can give you a range. I can give you a minimum, and I don't really know if I can give you a maximum. And then the major issues are, what are you trying to accomplish? What are your activity levels? Do you have any other medical issues going on? So to be able to say have X amount of protein every day, I don't think that's nuanced enough to take into account everything we know about medical issues and human health. So as a basic, remember, you have to have some protein every day. There are some textbooks, some pundits, influencers, and we do teach, if you're going to take a test and pass a test for obesity medicine or nutrition, the correct answer is somewhere between 1 gram per kilogram, 1.5 grams per kilogram, maybe 2 grams per, somewhere 1.5 gram per kilogram lean body mass of protein per day. Now, you could calculate this out. You could have apps to help you do this. You're going to have to adjust it for your weight. And then if you're overweight or heavy, you have to subtract out the fat mass to get your estimated lean body mass. So you can see that there's a lot of fudging and it's difficult to actually get a absolute amount to recommend per day. Thankfully, I think that a range of protein every day is fine. I think historically there have been times when humans didn't eat the same amount every day, didn't have access to the food, didn't have access to all of the other information. And before there were any apps and before there were people recommending amounts of protein, people did pretty well when they ate when they were hungry. They had access to great healthy foods like fish and meat and poultry and eggs. So I go back to the paper done by Gunther Boden in 2005, where he put people onto a research ward, told them not to eat carbs, but to eat as much as you want of the non-carb containing food. So basically the people on the ward had free access to proteins and fats in the foods that we typically see in the US today. So people had ad lib consumption of low carb foods without all of the sugars and all, and they had to be under 20 total carbs per day. And it was fascinating because people naturally reduced the amount they ate. Well, because they weren't eating carbs, they reduced the carbs, but they didn't increase the protein and fat to adjust for the carbs that they weren't eating any longer. What happened is the amount they ate matched the height and weight, basically the individualization of the amount they needed, and it happened pretty fast. This was a 2-week study. And what happened is people ate less, they all lost weight, the blood sugars got better. And of course, this is a classic paper now. It was published in 2005, but it's required reading for those who are trying to learn about what happens on a low carb diet. And just putting it all together, I find people who worry excessively about how much they're eating, when they're eating, all these different things. When if you just step back, stop eating these junk foods, and now even there are keto junk foods out there. Don't have them. It's the processed food industry that's coming out with these ketos, and no, don't have them, even though it says keto. I always look at the label for total carbs, and this is just the general teaching that I do when you come to one of the programs that I teach. And you really don't have to worry about the amount of protein you're eating, the exact amount, as long as you have free access to meat, chicken, poultry, fish, shellfish, eggs, basically kind of a low-carb keto list of real foods. Your body will figure it out, how much protein it'll get. For the test, for the exam, if you're really, really worried about this, stay to 0.5 or 1 gram per kilogram if you're trying to lose weight, per 1 gram per kilogram of lean body mass. So you have to calculate out the adipose mass, the fat mass, to get your estimated lean body mass. In essence, that's too much work for most of my patients, so I will just tell them to eat freely from these low-carb, zero-carb foods that are mainly protein and fat, so you'll get enough to feel full, and you'll get enough to replenish your body stores, make everything you need. And that's for the general principle for losing weight on a low-carb keto diet. Now, let's say you're wanting to build muscle mass, and you can build muscle mass while losing fat mass. These are two different compartments. The fat is the energy store, and the protein and muscle mass is basically your strength and your functioning. So if you're doing resistance training and exercising while you're losing weight, you can actually build muscle mass, which doesn't compute to some people because they think of weight as just one uniform thing, when really the weight in our bodies it's partially fat, it's partially protein, it's partially water, and these different compartments can change. And that's why, again, we don't want you to obsess about a number on the scale, because it doesn't tell you exactly which body compartment of weight is changing, and one might go down while the other one's going up at the same time, so the total weight doesn't change at all. So I guess to wrap it up, I do want you to have protein every day. The prolonged fasting is not thought to be a generally healthy thing. There are some people who kind of think it might be healthy. There are theoretical reasons, but until we get clinical trials, clinical studies of a large number of people, that would be equivalent to approval of a drug, for example, thousands of people on the particular program looking at the body composition, I would still recommend having some protein every day. Now, you can do a program with a trainer or a doctor and measure your own body mass, which really kind of is the best way to go about it if you're doing something that there isn't a whole lot of research behind, because you'll be able to measure yourself and to make sure that you're not getting any adverse things like losing muscle mass while you're losing weight. You want to sustain that just as much as you can. Now, if you're trying to gain weight, you're trying to become a boxer, I just reviewed Dr. Mike, and he is also a boxer, and he added protein shakes, whey protein, but his specific purpose was to try to really build up muscle mass to do pro boxing. And I suppose there's a role for that. It's not something I recommend in my clinical program, which focuses on reversing obesity and reversing diabetes. I hope that's helpful. Please subscribe, like, and look down below for my latest pamphlet on how to do keto. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and check out adaptyourlifeacademy.com.